Can you imagine a nation whose navy once had 7 ships, yet only one person in the entire force could actually swim? A place where people roast goat meat by placing hot stones inside the animal's carcass after it has been slaughtered. And for centuries, many believed that bathing could anger nature and invite misfortune. Welcome to Mongolia, a country where livestock far outnumber people and the average person is linked to around 20 cows. It is also a society where 60% of women have experienced domestic violence, revealing a troubling social reality. At the same time, this is the birthplace of Genghis Khan, the leader who shaped world history and expanded his rule across nearly a quarter of the Earth's surface. Today, we begin a journey to uncover 20 astonishing facts about Mongolia that most travel guides will never mention. Number 1. When men are left behind. In Mongolia, women are entering a social position rarely seen elsewhere. They have higher education levels, longer life expectancy, and greater economic stability than men. Yet this advantage creates a paradox. The more successful they become, the harder it is to find a suitable partner. The World Bank has described Mongolia as one of the countries with the largest reverse gender gap in higher education. In 2019, female university students outnumbered males by a ratio of 7-to-5. Earlier, in the economic downturn of the early 2000s, female enrollment was even twice that of men. Across both rural and urban areas, many families chose to invest in daughters' education for stability, while sons often entered the workforce early to take on traditional responsibilities. This gap extends into adulthood. Mongolian women have much lower unemployment rates than men and live nearly 10 years longer. Women typically live past 72, while men average only 63 to 64. Over 60% of annual deaths are among men, driven by alcoholism, cardiovascular disease, and liver and lung cancer appearing during working age. The traditional family pillar model is weakening rapidly. The paradox is most visible in Ulaanbaatar, which hosts nearly half the population and the highest share of highly educated women. Here, for every 100 women, there are only about 92 men. Within 2 decades, the marriage rate in the capital has fallen by more than 60%, and the trend continues. Cultural pressure remains strong. Women are expected to be financially independent and have stable careers, yet also marry before 29. When these expectations collide, many lower their partner criteria or delay marriage indefinitely. Despite women's advantages in education and longevity, the idea of men as breadwinners still quietly persists. The roots of this imbalance trace back to the 1990s, when Mongolia shifted from a planned to a market economy. Men were hit hardest by job losses, while social programs and NGO initiatives focused mainly on women and children. As a result, many men were left behind, facing unemployment, alcoholism, and health crises, leading the government to launch a national anti-alcohol campaign in 2022. Number 2. A vast but empty nation. With a population density of only about 2 people per square kilometer, Mongolia is the most sparsely populated independent country on Earth. Across more than 1.56 million square kilometers, an area comparable to Alaska and Texas combined, it has only about 3.5 million inhabitants, fewer than Los Angeles. Compared with the global average of over 400 people per square kilometer, Mongolia is hundreds of times less dense, and vast areas can be crossed without encountering a single concentrated settlement. This emptiness is shaped by geography and climate. Much of the country consists of grasslands, high mountains, and deserts with severe weather. Winters can fall to -40 degrees Celsius, while summers are short and dry, making large-scale agriculture difficult and encouraging nomadic movement with livestock and water. The transport network reflects this reality, with only about 1 kilometer of road for every 100 square kilometers, making domestic travel expensive and risky. A sharp contrast appears in the capital. Nearly 47% of the population lives in Ulaanbaatar, which occupies just 0.3% of national territory. In 3 decades, its population has grown from about 400,000 to nearly 1.5 million. Other cities such as Erdenet and Darkhan have only tens of thousands of residents, and together still fall far short of half of Ulaanbaatar's population, while 99.7% of the land remains almost empty. This concentration has turned Ulaanbaatar into a case of uncontrolled urbanization. Around 60% of residents live in GER districts lacking clean water, sewage, and reliable infrastructure. Many households depend on pit toilets and limited water access, and poverty remains widespread. Each winter, hundreds of thousands of coal or charcoal stoves are burned for heat, making the city one of the most polluted in the world and exposing children to dangerous particulate levels. Meanwhile, rural regions continue to lose people. Only about 30% of the population still practices nomadic life, and climate change is accelerating its decline. Recent harsh winters have destroyed livestock herds, pushing many families to abandon the pasture lands for city life. As a result, logistics costs approach 30% of GDP, and freight must travel across hundreds of kilometers. Number 3. Why do Mongolian women lack partners? One of Mongolia's most striking paradoxes lies in its shifting gender structure. On paper, the male-to-female ratio appears nearly balanced, with about 100 to 101 women for every 100 men. Yet behind this figure is a quiet, reverse gender crisis reshaping society. Men's average life expectancy is 9.6 years lower than women's, one of the largest gaps worldwide. Between 1992 and 2018, women gained nearly 11 years of life expectancy, while men gained just over 5. Among working-age adults, male mortality is more than 3 times higher, meaning men increasingly disappear from the demographic profile as age rises. The imbalance also varies by region. Rural areas have about 108 men per 100 women, but in cities, especially Ulaanbaatar, home to nearly half the population, the figure drops to 92 men per 100 women, turning the capital into a difficult marriage market with many more women than eligible men. Internal. Migration intensifies this divide. Young women move to cities for education and jobs, while men remain in herding and manual work. Nomadic households are declining. Younger generations leave traditional life, rural areas become male-dominated and isolated, and cities concentrate women yet lack suitable partners. The consequences are visible in mortality statistics. Men are nearly 6 times more likely to die by suicide, and deaths linked to violence, accidents, and traffic incidents are far higher among men. Over half of suicides occur in rural areas affected by unemployment, alcohol, and isolation. From 1990 to 2019, alcohol-related deaths among men increased by more than 600%. Lifestyle patterns deepen the problem: heavy smoking and drinking, limited exercise, and poor access to health care. Many men seek treatment only in late stages of illness, shaped by social expectations around toughness. As men's health declines, family stability and fertility weaken, contributing to falling birth rates. In response, various policy ideas have emerged, from encouraging male immigration to broader social support programs. Yet one reality remains. Mongolia is among the few countries where a surplus of rural men and a shortage of urban men coexist, creating significant economic, psychological, and demographic pressure. Number 4. What really happens at Mongolian funerals? In the vast steppes of Mongolia, there exists a funeral ritual that might astound many Westerners: aerial burial. This practice dates back to the 16th century, when Altan Khan introduced Tibetan Buddhism as the main religion and gradually phased out traditional burials. From that point on, death was no longer seen as a closed ending, but as the final act of a person's direct and unmasked return to nature. When a person dies, the body is considered an empty shell after the soul has departed. The ceremony is performed almost immediately. The deceased's face is covered with a kadag, a white silk ribbon symbolizing purity. Butter lamps and incense are continuously lit, not for remembrance, but to prevent the soul from lingering and returning to the human realm. A lama chooses the burial date and direction based on the ancient Altan Saw book, ensuring the soul has the most favorable journey. The body is then carried by 3 or 4 men, known as bone bearers, to a steppe area far from populated areas. There is no coffin and no grave. The body is placed directly on the ground, head facing north, and then they all leave. Birds and wild animals complete the rest of the ritual. 3 days later, the family returns to check. If the body has completely disappeared, it is considered a sign that the soul has been fully liberated. For the Mongolian nomadic community, this is not a cruel act, but a philosophy of life condensed into a ritual. Burial in the air is seen as the ultimate virtue, offering the body to the natural cycle of survival, feeding predators to maintain the balance of the steppe. blue stones are placed where the body once lay, both to reassure the soul and as a silent sign that the deceased has departed this world. Number 5. When violence is seen as a private matter. According to a national study on gender-based violence by UNFPA and Mongolia's statistical agency, nearly 6 in 10 women who have ever had a partner have experienced at least one form of violence. This includes not only physical assault or sexual coercion, but also psychological and economic abuse, as well as prolonged controlling behavior. Around 31% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence from a partner, a rate twice the global average, and 1 in 10 women has faced sexual abuse before age 15. The most striking issue is not the prevalence itself, but the gap between reality and reported cases. In 1 year, police documented just over 1,000 incidents of domestic violence, while independent surveys estimate that more than 100,000 women experienced physical or sexual violence from partners within the same period. In other words, only about 1% of cases reach authorities, while most remain invisible. This silence is rooted in deep cultural and social attitudes. Many women, regardless of education or income, still believe a husband may use violence in certain situations. The belief that domestic violence is a private matter discourages victims from seeking help. In communities tied to livestock herding, uniquely local forms of abuse have been recorded, such as being chased on horseback or beaten with herding whips. Even when women attempt to escape, their choices are extremely limited. Across the country, only a few shelters remain after many closed due to budget cuts. In many situations, victims lack legal assistance, safe housing, and financial means to rebuild their lives. Violence from non-partners is also widespread, with nearly 1/5 of women reporting assault from adolescence onward. Number 6. Body odor and the honor of a warrior. During the era of Genghis Khan, the Mongols rarely bathed, not because of poor hygiene or lack of water, but due to a sacred belief about the universe. Flowing water was seen as the home of Lus, the water dragon god who governed rain, rivers, and life. Polluting the water meant offending the gods, and the price could be death. The laws of that time were extremely strict. Anyone who bathed, washed clothes, or urinated in rivers or streams risked execution. Beyond legal punishment, people also feared dragon disease, mysterious illnesses believed to be punishment from Lus. Protecting clean water meant protecting the steppe itself. This belief shaped a lifestyle that outsiders could hardly imagine. Mongol warriors, who ruled lands stretching 24 million square kilometers, almost never washed their clothes. They wore the same outfit until it fell apart. From time to time, they removed their garments, beat them against the ground to shake off lice, then wore them again. Grease from meals was wiped onto clothing instead of being washed away. Though it seems unhygienic, in the freezing climate this practice helped them survive. Layers of fat, sweat, and dust formed a natural wind-resistant and water-repellent barrier that kept the body warm. Washing clothes removed this protection, and in winter it could mean freezing to death. Some scholars compare it to a kind of natural insulation of the 13th century. Their view of body odor was also unlike modern attitudes. What people today try to hide was once considered a mark of honor. Every scent was unique. If Genghis Khan gifted a warrior his worn clothing carrying his own scent, it was seen as the greatest honor because that scent symbolized the soul, power, and authority of the great Khan. Number 7. Where strangers are always welcome. Across the Mongolian steppe, nomadic tents are almost always open, and strangers may enter without knocking. In this rare landscape, unexpected visitors are often seen as a gift from heaven. Once a guest steps inside, the welcoming ritual begins. The host greets them calmly and with dignity. A gentle touch on the forehead signifies entry into a sacred space. The guest is seated carefully, usually on the north side of the tent. Sitting in the wrong place, stepping on the threshold, or passing between the two main pillars is considered disrespectful. The first offering is sute tsai, salty milk tea, which serves as both a drink and a formal greeting. The host pours with the right hand, while the guest receives with both hands and takes a small sip to show respect. Refusing the tea is equivalent to rejecting hospitality. Made from water, black tea, salt, and milk from cows, goats, sheep, or camels, sometimes with butter or millet, its taste often surprises Western visitors. The meal that follows reflects the guest's status. Honored guests, especially elders, may receive a lamb's head or a prized fatty lointail cut. The larger the tail, the greater the symbol of wealth. The guest must eat a small piece to accept the honor. Common dishes include boiled lamb, booze dumplings, arul dried cheese, and airog fermented mare's milk, and guests are expected to finish what they are served. Some traditions can be unexpected to outsiders. In certain communities, hospitality for young male guests once included sharing warmth through the night, shaped by the harsh conditions of herding life. A diet rich in meat and dairy, combined with infrequent bathing, also creates a distinctive body scent that is normal on the steppe, though often surprising to modern travelers. Number 8. The global heritage of Genghis Khan. Mongolian history is inseparable from one figure, Genghis Khan. For Mongolians, he is not only a historic leader, but the foundation of their nation, identity, and an empire that once reshaped the world. Born in 1162 as Temujin, he endured hardship from childhood. After his father was poisoned and his tribe dispersed, his family struggled to survive on the steppe. From an outcast orphan, he gradually unified divided nomadic tribes and in 1206 was proclaimed Genghis Khan, meaning ruler of the world. Within decades, the Mongols built a vast contiguous empire of about 24 million square kilometers, nearly 18% of the Earth's land surface, stretching from the Sea of Japan to Eastern Europe and from Siberia to the Indian subcontinent. Today, modern Mongolia retains less than 7% of that territory. His legacy extends far beyond territory. A 2003 genetic study showed that about 0.5% of men worldwide, roughly 16 million people, share a Y chromosome lineage linked to him, an extraordinary biological footprint. Remarkably, this conqueror also advanced reforms ahead of his era. The Yasa Code limited hereditary privilege, prohibited torture, and emphasized merit. Religious freedom was protected, and Buddhist, Muslim, and Christian scholars could debate publicly. Mongolian women could own property and trade, rights many contemporary societies restricted. He also established the Yam Relay Network, with posts spaced 20 to 30 miles apart, enabling fast communication and the movement of merchants. This strengthened Asia-Europe trade and is often viewed as an early precursor to globalization. Marco Polo is believed to have traveled through this system. After the empire fragmented, his influence lived on through successor states such as the Yuan dynasty and the Khanates of Russia and Central Asia. In modern Mongolia, especially after 1991, he re-emerged as a national symbol, appearing on currency, products, and public culture. In 2008, a 40-meter stainless steel statue near Ulaanbaatar reaffirmed the enduring power of his legacy. Number 9. The mystery of fermented mare's milk. In the Mongolian steppe, a traditional drink often surprises first-time visitors. Airog, or fermented mare's milk. Produced only in summer when mares are nursing, it requires intense labor. From June to early autumn, mares are milked about 6 times a day, every 2 hours, and each yields only small amounts, around 300 kilograms of milk a year, far less than modern dairy cows. So every drop is valued. The milk is poured into a kokhur, a cowhide bag hung inside the tent, and fermented over 1 to 2 days. During this time, it is stirred 3,000 to 5,000 times, and anyone who enters the tent helps stir with a wooden pestle. Lactic acid bacteria and natural yeast transform it into a cloudy, lightly foamy drink with a mild sour flavor and about 2% alcohol. Airog has also drawn scientific interest. It contains natural probiotics, easily digestible proteins, B vitamins, calcium, and healthy fatty acids, because most lactose breaks down during fermentation. Even people with lactose intolerance can drink it. In the Soviet period, it was used in sanatoriums for tuberculosis patients and believed to support immune health. Its deepest meaning, however, is cultural. At the start of the milking season, families hold a ceremony, placing the first bucket of milk in a sacred spot and pouring a small portion onto an ovu, a stone shrine honoring the gods. From then on, airog is shared with guests, strengthening community bonds and symbolizing the abundance of summer. Number 10. Strange customs still exist. Mongolia has nearly 70 million livestock for just over 3.4 million people, meaning each person corresponds to about 20 animals, the highest ratio in the world. Sheep, goats, cattle, horses, and camels serve not only as property, but also as banks, food reserves, and insurance for nomadic families. Yet within only 2 years after the 2022 peak, the national herd fell by more than 13 million animals. a decline rarely seen in a century. The main cause is dzud, a recurring winter disaster. The winter of 2023-2024 was the most destructive since 2010, with over 8 million animals dying in one season and nearly 5 million in March alone. Many herders lost more than 70% of their wealth within weeks, and this was already the sixth dzud in 10 years, as climate patterns shift from long droughts to extreme winters. Amid these conditions, the GER remains a symbol of resilience. Used for over 2,500 years, it can be assembled in hours and withstands severe cold, snow, and summer heat. Nomads migrate 2 to 4 times a year with their entire household, once using camels and oxen and now trucks, although this adaptability is struggling to keep pace with rapid social change. Since 1990, large-scale migration has concentrated in Ulaanbaatar. The capital's population has doubled in 2 decades, while the number of nomadic households has fallen from over 1/3 of the population to about 1/5, as young people leave the steppes for education and work. In December 2024, UNESCO recognized the nomadic migration of the Mongolians and related practices as intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The recognition came at a time when only 25 to 30% of the population still maintains this lifestyle, which many scholars see as evidence of a centuries-old culture fading within a single generation. Number 11. The mystery of the White Month. Mongolians do not celebrate the New Year with Christmas or fireworks. On the steppe, their most sacred festival is Tsaga Ansar, or White Month, a tradition over 2,000 years old rooted in nomadic survival. The festival centers on the color white, symbolizing purity, fortune, and renewal. During Tsaga Ansar, food, milk tea, cheese, clothing, and gifts are predominantly white, marking the end of winter and the arrival of spring. Because of its cultural meaning, the festival was banned for 38 years during the communist era, from 1952 to 1990. Yet people preserved it until it was restored and later recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage in 2023. The final night of the old year, Bichuun, is when families gather to settle debts and disputes. As darkness falls, candles are lit and 3 blocks of ice are placed at the doorway, based on the belief that the horse of the goddess Palden Lamo will stop to drink as it passes each home on the moonless night. The first morning opens with the Zolgok ceremony. Young people support the elbows of their elders, press cheeks together, and offer wishes of health, affirming that the family and community have endured the harsh winter. The festive table features ulbuv, a tiered tower of fried cakes symbolizing Mount Sumeru and bearing the family seal, placed beside yuts, boiled lamb loin with intact tail fat, representing abundance and safety. In the following days, milk tea offerings are performed, with the first drop sprinkled to the 4 directions in gratitude. Younger relatives visit elders first, bringing white gifts and blessings of peace to reinforce social bonds. One striking custom shows elders in fur coats whipping the air to ward off evil spirits and protect livestock, while young men ride their finest horses around the settlement, expressing strength, resilience, and the spirit of nomadic life. Number 12. The soul of the nomadic family. Alongside the Kadag, Mongolians also regard fire as an absolutely sacred symbol. In folk beliefs, fire is called Od Ana, Mother of Fire, the goddess who appeared from the moment heaven and earth separated. Legend says that Genghis Khan himself lit the national fire, and from then on, that fire was passed down to each family. Therefore, a new family is not allowed to light a fire on their own, but must ask for fire from an authorized person to be connected to the common, sacred lineage of the community. A system of taboos surrounds the fire, which many Westerners find difficult to understand. Mongolians are not allowed to poke knives at the fire, pour water or alcohol on burning coals, spit, step over the hearth, or throw garbage or urine on the ashes. In the space of the GER, fire not only serves to warm, but also acts as a purification and protection for the fate of the entire family. In traditional weddings, the ritual involving fire holds a central position. The couple circles the GER 3 times before jumping together over the burning fire. The bride kneels before the family hearth, offering milk or animal fat as a request for permission. Only after completing the fire ritual are the young couple officially recognized as husband and wife. Number 13. The revered symbol of nomadic people. In Mongolian spiritual life, the Khadag is not merely a silk ribbon but a sacred object, a silent greeting, and a sign of respect. Found in Mongolia, Tibet, Bhutan, and Nepal, it is tied to Vajrayana Buddhism and ancient shamanistic traditions. Yet in Mongolia, its rules remain especially strict and deeply rooted. A nomadic family is considered spiritually complete only when they possess all 5 colors of kadag, kept with leather straps and vodka as a treasured possession. Each color carries a fixed meaning that must not be misused. Blue represents the eternal blue sky and is used in greetings. White symbolizes milk and purity, associated with mothers. Yellow signifies the sun and wisdom and is reserved for lamas. Green relates to the land and ritual practice. Red represents fire and vitality and is never used in ordinary greetings. Choosing the wrong color is viewed as an offense to the sacred. During Tsagaan-sar, the Mongolian New Year, the kadag becomes central to the Zolgok ritual. Young people wrap the scarf 3 times around their fingers, fold it, and present it to elders as a gesture of trust and respect, receiving a blessing in return. If the scarf is placed on the hand without the full ritual, it is understood as a ceremonial offering instead of a greeting. Outside the household, kadags are tied to ovu, sacred stone mounds on mountain passes and peaks. Nomads stop to fasten a blue kadag, pour milk or vodka, add a stone, and walk 3 circles around the ovu as a way of sending prayers to the sky. Alongside the kadag stands an even more revered symbol, fire. In Mongolian belief, fire is Od Ana, mother of fire, a goddess born when heaven and earth separated. Legend says that Genghis Khan once lit the national fire, which has since been passed from hearth to hearth. Because of this, a new family may not light its own fire, but must receive it from a spiritual authority to join the sacred lineage. Number 14. The Rise of the Silk Road. The history of the Silk Road in Mongolia is a story interwoven with trade, cultural exchange, and geopolitical power. As Genghis Khan and his descendants expanded their territory, the Mongol Empire played a central role in restoring and protecting this trade route, transforming it into a vital bridge between East and West. Thanks to its location between Central Asia, East Asia, and Europe, the Mongols quickly seized many strategic sections of the Silk Road. This made them a key intermediary force in transcontinental trade. Merchant caravans passing through the territory paid taxes in exchange for escort and safe passage. This revenue generated significant economic benefits, contributing to the empire's financial strength and political standing. Under Mongol rule, the Silk Road achieved a level of stability and security rarely seen before. The government implemented policies to encourage trade, develop infrastructure, and ensure the safety of caravans along the route. As a result, the trade route became bustling, attracting merchants from many different regions of the world. The role of the Mongols in maintaining and promoting the Silk Road has had a lasting impact. These efforts not only expanded trade, but also created a cultural and intellectual bridge between Asia and Europe, contributing to shaping transcontinental relationships for centuries to come. Number 15. Mysterious Rituals. Mongolian vocal singing, also known as kumi, is an ancient form of vocal music originating from the vast mountainous and steppe regions. Kumi's uniqueness lies in its ability to produce 2 or more layers of sound simultaneously. The voice combines a low-pitched bass with high overtones, creating the sensation of wind blowing through mountain slopes, flowing water, or the echoes of wild nature. To achieve this effect, the singer must precisely control the vocal cords, breath, and the resonant space within the oral cavity. The sound is not produced by force, but by the subtle adjustment of the throat and the placement of the sound within the body. This technique requires years of training and direct instruction from teacher to student within the community. In traditional Mongolian life, kumi is not just a performing art. It appears in rituals, festivals, and many important events such as horse racing, archery, and wrestling. Through this singing style, the Mongolians express their reverence for nature, their ancestors, and historical heroes. The sound is seen as a connecting thread between humans and the natural world. Today, kumi has been recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This recognition affirms kumi's role in preserving cultural identity and enhancing interaction between communities in Mongolia, Inner Mongolia in China, and Tuva in Russia. Number 16. Delicious dishes. Mongolia has long been shaped by a nomadic lifestyle, where people adapted to harsh environments and constant movement. This led to simple, efficient cooking methods requiring almost no utensils. Among them, cooking with hot stones is the most distinctive, best represented by budog, a dish that often fascinates foreigners. Despite its name, budog has no connection to dog meat. It is traditionally made from goat, sometimes marmot, and prepared in an unusual way. Instead of pots or pans, Mongolians place red-hot stones inside the animal's abdominal cavity, along with onions, potatoes, and other vegetables. The process starts by heating stones to extremely high temperatures, allowing the meat to cook from the inside out. The neck is tightly sealed with metal wire to retain heat, while the outside is roasted over fire, a grill, or even a blowtorch, burning off the fur. For first-time visitors, budog can be shocking. For Mongolians, however, it represents cultural identity and survival knowledge. It is most commonly eaten in winter when its hot, fatty meat helps the body withstand the brutal cold of the steppe. Number 17. The free lifestyle of the Mongolians. Mongolia has long been considered the land of horsemen, where the Mongolian horse has become a symbol deeply rooted in the national identity. This breed is distinguished by its incredible endurance, ability to withstand cold, and adaptability to the harsh conditions of the steppe, from strong winds and arid land to long journeys lasting many days. In Mongolia, horseback riding is not simply a sport or a cultural performance. It is a survival skill intrinsically linked to nomadic life. Horses are used for transportation, herding livestock, and carrying goods during seasonal migrations. Mongolian children are exposed to horses from a very young age, thus forming a bond between humans and these animals from infancy. Alongside horseback riding, archery is also a long-standing tradition. Mongolians use a technique of shooting with their thumb to generate force and maintain the stability of the arrow. Traditional bows, crafted from wood, animal tendons, and horns, showcase a skill passed down through generations. Another prominent cultural feature is the tradition of eagle hunting. Hunters train golden eagles to assist in hunting, fostering a close bond between humans and these birds of prey. This tradition is celebrated in the annual Golden Eagle Festival, where hunters demonstrate their skills and contribute to the preservation of Mongolia's unique cultural heritage. These traditions reflect the strong connection between Mongolians and nature and history, and help visitors better understand a nomadic culture that continues to thrive alongside modern life. Number 18. Unique communication etiquette. In Mongolian culture, the manner of giving and receiving gifts is as important as the gift itself. Gifts are always offered and accepted with both hands, often with a slight bow to show respect. This is especially important when presenting a kadag, a ceremonial silk scarf with sacred meaning. Using only one hand is considered impolite and insincere. This two-handed etiquette also applies to everyday situations, such as receiving food or drink. People either use both hands or hold items with the right hand while supporting the wrist with the left. These gestures reflect the deep values of hospitality and mutual respect at the heart of Mongolian society. For visitors to Mongolia, remembering to give and receive with both hands helps create a positive impression. For Mongolians, it is not merely etiquette, but a way of honoring the thought and effort behind the gesture itself. Number 19. A beautiful festival. The Naadam Festival, held annually in mid-July, is Mongolia's most important cultural event. From July 11th to 15th, the country is immersed in celebrations centered on three traditional sports symbolizing Mongolian strength: wrestling, horse racing, and archery. These sports are deeply tied to Mongolia's nomadic lifestyle and military history, especially since the era of Genghis Khan, when physical skill was vital for survival. Because of this cultural importance, Naadam has been recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. Beyond the competitions, the festival features traditional music, folk dances, and iconic foods such as kushur, fried meat patties, and airog, fermented mare's milk. The main events are held at the National Sports Stadium in Ulaanbaatar, while smaller, community-based Naadam festivals take place across the country. Tickets for major events are in high demand and often need to be booked in advance through travel agencies. More than a sporting festival, Naadam is a strong expression of national pride, preserving the connection between Mongolia's history, traditions, and modern life. Number 20. The Gobi Desert is not just sand. The Gobi Desert, stretching across Mongolia and China, is the largest desert in Asia and the fifth largest in the world. Covering more than 1.2 million square kilometers, this vast region has long attracted scientists and travelers with its harsh beauty and rich natural and historical mysteries. Contrary to the image of a desert made only of sand, the Gobi features remarkably diverse landscapes, including sand dunes, rocky plateaus, low mountain ranges, and wide grasslands. Its climate is extreme, with scorching summers and freezing winters, creating a unique ecosystem where plants and animals have adapted to survive under severe conditions. The Gobi is also famous for its fossil sites. Bayanzag, known as the Fiery Cliffs, is one of the world's most important paleontological locations, where numerous dinosaur fossils and prehistoric remains have been uncovered. Beyond its natural significance, the Gobi Desert is closely linked to the ancient Silk Road. Ruins of old cities, temples, and mosques still dot the region, highlighting its vital role in historical trade between Asia and Europe. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. I'm sure you'll enjoy this content. Comment below on the next country you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Thank you for being with us. Leave a comment, hit the like button to show your support, and remember to subscribe for more interesting videos. See you next time.